All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new review on the Star Wars Acolyte trailer that Lucasfilm did release earlier today. Now, I didn't see this come. I mean, for me, it came out of nowhere. I hadn't heard anything about it being released anytime soon, and I was very curious. This is one of the projects that I was genuinely interested in. Now, I'm not actually going to show footage because I don't want this video to get stricken. And if you're here, you have probably already seen the trailer. And so I would recommend checking it out, and if you don't want to be spoiled by anything. Now, here are my thoughts on the trailer. For me, personally, the show looks very cheap. There is something I'm noticing amongst all of the Star Wars shows. The Mandalorian had a really good look to it. You also had a really good look to Andor. Andor looked like the movies looked. It had this production value that is not present in these other shows. Even Ahsoka didn't have the budget that something like Andor had. And so these shows have this kind of cheap look to it. And that's what you notice immediately when you start watching the Acolyte trailer. It just has this cheap look to it. You could definitely tell it's Disney. And when they're going through the city streets at the beginning of the trailer, there's like all humans there. There's like no aliens. In fact, there's very few aliens in the actual trailer itself. It's mostly just people. And I don't know why Disney is afraid to show Star Wars as a world full of, interesting creatures. There's a few in there, guys, but mostly it's just regular people. And it's just kind of odd. And there are no blaster shots in this. It's all lightsabers. And what they brought into it now is martial arts. This looks like the Matrix brought to Star Wars. And not just because Carrie-Anne Moss is one of the main characters. It's because it has this look like they're getting away from what made Star Wars special, and they're adding in these different aspects to it, and now they want to bring in martial arts, which I don't think really fits the aesthetics or the look of Star Wars. Star Wars was unique. It was about blasters and lightsabers, but for some reason, Disney has a problem with blasters, and they don't really want to use them. And so this trailer overall just came off as very weak to me, and you can see that Disney is still pushing that female agenda. This is all female-driven. It looks like Carrie-Anne Moss is she's either the real bad guy, and they don't reveal that in the trailer, but there's also a couple of other women that they're using as probably the bad guys, or it could be vice versa. And again, it's all about the females. It's all that Disney is doing in regards to Star Wars. And we already knew that the Acolyte was going to be female-driven from the get-go. And, I mean, the director was talking about, well, we already know that Kathleen Kennedy was all the Force is female. That's all she's touting out there. And you have the director of this show and everything. It's all definitely female-driven. And that's fine. I would hope that there's a little more diversity than that, but that's what Disney is doing. And until these projects start to tank in the ratings, they're probably in, and we're not seeing that with Star Wars. It's like everything they're coming up with for Star Wars is all female driven, and that does actually need to stop. But I don't like the look. I think the look is very cheap. I also don't like the female aspect of it being all female, and they just need to go back to what made Star Wars special. I don't like the martial arts. I want to see it be just the Jedis doing their thing. But hey, this is Disney. They're going into a live action era of Star Wars that we've never seen before, the High Republic, and I know nothing about the High Republic. I'm not reading the comics or the books. I'm more of a live-action Star Wars fan, and sometimes some of the cartoons, but we haven't had anything in regards to the High Republic, and I think a lot of people like myself, this is going to be our first introduction into the High Republic, and they're going to have to make this good, or it's not going to reflect well on Disney. All right, so what did you guys think? I think if I had to give this a score out of 1 out of 5, I would give the trailer a 2 out of 5. I am very worried about what's going to happen with this show and if it's going to be any good or not. All right, so there is my little review and recap on the new Star Wars Acolyte trailer that did get released earlier today. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on that trailer. Sound off below in the comments.